welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking about one of the newest Nintendo Switch games, and that is Doraemon Story of Seasons, Friends of the Kingdom. Now, I don't want you guys to confuse this with the first Doraemon Story of Seasons, which is on the Switch as well. So if you are interested in this game, or you kind of, want to buy that game, just make sure you're getting the right one, because this second installment is better pretty much in every single way over the first, which is a little spoiler how I feel about this game, but I just wanted to make a note of that. Also, in this video, I am playing from my PC, okay? But I do want to report that the Switch version looks and performs exactly the same, and honestly, I prefer the Switch version over the PC version. So with all that out of the way, let's get to my first thoughts of this game. So first off, if you are unfamiliar with this sort of franchise, this is a spin-off franchise for the Story of Seasons Harvest Moon games called Doraemon Story of Seasons. Now, I'm not too familiar with Doraemon. I know it's a popular Japanese cartoon. So just know that you aren't going to get some of the features that you would come to expect in the mainline games, such as marrying people and having deeper relationships with some of the townspeople. And that's because you play as a young boy. That's another thing you can't do. You can't customize your character in every way. But I do feel like when I play this game, I'm not really missing those features, but definitely just something to note. Now for me, I mean, this is definitely personal opinion, but I've always thought that the Doraemon Story of Seasons games look absolutely beautiful. Like, I think these are the best looking Story of Seasons games ever. I just love the storybook sort of watercolor art style, and these are just a pleasure to look at. Like, when you're playing, sometimes you just kind of stop and look at the environments. I also like how there are some dynamic environments in this installment. In the first Doraemon Story of Seasons, you were just kind of playing like a top-down view, but there are some areas, not everywhere, but there are some areas in this game that kind of expand the world a little bit, and you can kind of see in the sky and kind of see like off in the distance. And I really like those dynamic camera angles, and I thought that that made this game just feel that more special. Now, this isn't a full review. I was able to play a few hours, but I was able to learn the mechanics and kind of get a good feel of this game. And I feel like the first few hours in games, especially like this, the farm sim genre, are definitely the deal breakers, so I'm kind of comfortable with putting this out. Right away, if you play this game, just know that it is very story heavy, which is actually a good thing in this case. Like I said before, you're missing out on some of the features, such as like the marital features and things like that. But in its place, you are getting a ton of story, which I feel like the normal Story of Seasons games are actually lacking. So this game, the characters speak in Japanese, but there are English subtitles. And I gotta say, it is like watching an anime, and the story's actually really good. In a lot of farming games, you just inherit the farm from your dying grandpa or something. But in this, you're actually from space, and you travel here, and the queen actually steals some of your futuristic space equipment because she kind of is a little suspect of you. So it is up to you to take care of this farm and to help the people in the town to sort of win the queen's trust back. I know this story isn't groundbreaking, the premise isn't groundbreaking, but it was kind of nice to switch it up a little bit. These story elements will happen every few days or so. You will start your day and then immediately be kind of thrown into these different cutscenes. And I actually did enjoy the story, and I'm kind of excited to see where this story goes, because it's pretty interesting. I also found it pretty charming that along with the main story of the game, you are given story and backstories of the townspeople in your town. So for example, there's an old woman in the town that gives a lot of people advice, and you can also go there to like eat and, kind of recharge your batteries. And then in the workshop, there's a couple that is always fighting, but together they make this beautiful buildings and upgrades to your house and stuff. So I don't know, there's a lot of farming games where I see the NPCs and they're just kind of there and they serve a purpose. But in this game, I felt a connection with these characters, and that was pretty surprising to me. In terms of the mechanics, you will see some familiar tools and activities such as growing crops, and growing crops in this game is pretty standard for all the Story of Seasons farming games. You plant your seeds, you can add fertilizer, you can water them, and of course that's only the basics. You can get different crops for each season. It's pretty standard in that regard. You can do things like fish, catch bugs, go to the mines and get ores and things like that. If you play these types of games, you know exactly the activities to expect, but this game does everything quite well. Of course, when you start these kind of games, your bag is limited, your farm doesn't look great, you don't have any farm animals, you don't have much money or anything. But that's sort of the beauty of this game. It's very grind heavy, but in a good way. Actually, one of the biggest changes from the first game to this game are the menus, and I found myself loving just scrolling around the menu. You can simply open up one menu and you can see your relationships, you can see the map, you can see your inventory. The inventory is really cool too because you have a dedicated tool bag and then you have your backpack. I kind of like that, how it's separated. And if you did play the first game, man, that's definitely an upgrade. There are a few other noteworthy features that I only got to really scratch the surface in my playtime. The first one being animals, and this is pretty, standard in farming games, but you can take care of animals such as chickens, alpacas, cows, and much more. And I thought this was super cute. I was actually able to get a chicken, and of course, you have to take care of it, feed it, lays eggs, the drill with these. The other mode that I think you guys are really going to enjoy is decoration mode. And basically, you can trigger this on your farm. There's actually a little shed on there. And once you click your shed, you are in decoration mode. And it's really cool because time actually stops. And this is where you can kind of place things on your farm. And if, you are used to games like Animal Crossing and things like that, this is definitely a mode that's going to keep you coming back for more. There's also a tool that lets you move anything on your farm. So you can use this tool to move crops over a couple squares. And I feel like this is sort of a game changer for me because when I'm decorating my farm, usually I'm like, wait, I can't put a fence there because I already planted crops there. But with this tool, you can actually pick up your crops, move anything. So the customization is really cool. You also have a house in this game, which you can upgrade to do different things like cooking and things like that. And there are a couple rooms in the house where you can place furniture and kind of make it your own. So, along with the farming and the big storyline, there's some good customization features in here. Another cool mode in this is that you can play this game entirely with someone else. So if you have a friend or buddy, you can basically run this farm. And it's very similar to the multiplayer in Stardew, which you guys can kind of walk around with each other and kind of help each other out. You can also get help from the NPCs in this game, which I thought was really cute. They can follow you around, kind of pick crops and cut down trees with you. And I thought that was really helpful, especially with little mundane things like watering crops and things. It's just nice to have someone else helping you. So with all that out of the way, what are my final thoughts on my playtime with this game so far? And I definitely think that Doraemon Story Seasons Friends of the Kingdom, remember this is the second one in this installment, is definitely a leg up from the first game. It is sort of a hard recommend if you played the first game because these are full $60 purchases. But I do think that there's enough here to warrant a purchase, especially if you are new to this sub-franchise, this, spin-off to the Story of Seasons games. With the quality of life improvements, there's new crops, new animals. I love the multiplayer and the customization of your farm. This is a pretty easy recommend from me. Much like the first one, the visuals won me over once again. There are a lot of reused assets in this, but I don't mind because the visuals are just that good. But along with the main story, I think someone new to this franchise is going to get a lot out of it. Again, it's pretty much like watching an anime while playing a farm sim. And I love just all the little things that you can do in here. It's just grindy, mindless stuff. Even with the lack of features like, the marriage candidates and stuff like that, I still think this is a strong installment in this franchise. And it will at least keep me busy until A Wonderful Life comes out next year. But I would definitely recommend this. Super fun, love the visuals, and the game just is good, runs well. So I'm excited to now switch over, play it on my Switch, and enjoy this game handheld. So let me know what you guys think. Have you played this game? Are you enjoying it? Did this do anything for you? Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace out, everyone.